Agreement simply says that what's mine is mine, what's yours is yours. We have a right to dictate 100% what happens to our assets upon our death. And the thing about a prenuptial agreement is what it does for one partner, it does for the other partner. It is equally benefiting to both of them.
Correct. And also within there, that is where you can give instructions. So so this is about it's for both of you, but the instructions can be what the two of you want. So for example, that is how you can talk about your homestead. So if one person brought the home into the marriage, and then when the client asked you, well, can I determine how it would be, they can either you can waive the right, or you can put instructions in there.
Yeah.
Either way.
Some people say, look, prenuptial is a great idea, but I still want to leave my spouse something. Fine.
Exactly.
Do a prenuptial agreement. You want to leave your spouse something in your will or trust? Fine. You're just no longer obligated to under Florida's elective share law.
Correct.
Then the other thing I want to let people know about the prenuptial agreement, prenuptial means you're doing it before you get married. You want to do it as far in advance of your marriage ceremony as you can, stated another way, not the week before.
Exactly.
And number two, when you get your prenuptial agreement, the attorney that prepares that prenuptial agreement can only represent one of the parties. So if the husband is going to get this prenuptial agreement done, fine. Then he hands a copy of it to his fiancée and say, look, here's our prenuptial agreement. If you want to get your own legal advice, go seek the advice of another attorney, because the attorney that prepared this cannot answer your questions for you.
Exactly. And that's also another component that people are often unaware, and that is that you will ultimately need two attorneys to finish the document and execute the document. Therefore, back to what you were saying, Tom, you cannot think that you're going to get this done the week before.
Now, the elective share that we've been talking about has to do strictly with what happens when somebody passes away.
Right.
A prenuptial agreement covers not only what happens when you pass away, but it also covers what happens if you get divorced.
Correct.
Because a typical prenuptial agreement says, okay, if we get divorced someday, neither one of us is going to be obligated to pay the other alimony.
Exactly.
And the typical prenuptial agreement, it's very simple. It says, okay, if we get divorced someday, what's mine is mine, and what's yours is yours. How do we tell that? Well, most assets have a title associated with it. A bank account, a piece of real estate, a car, all of them have a title. If it's a title in the husband's name only, he's leaving with it. If it's titled in the wife's name only, she's leaving with it.
Exactly.
The prenuptial agreement does say that if we have assets that are titled in both names, then it is subject to being divided either by together we work out an agreement, or potentially a divorce judge is working it out. So that the parties, while they might have a prenuptial agreement, while they get married, they might say, hey, we want to buy a home together. We're each going to put in $20,000 for a $40,000 down payment. We're going to title it in both our names.
Right.
Great and wonderful.
Absolutely.
But that means that if you get divorced, it's going to either you're going to agree on how it gets divided, or divorce court's going to decide on how it gets divided.
Correct. So there's a lot to it, but hopefully that gives our listeners just even a little bit of an overview.
And the idea in mind that if you're getting married later in life, prenuptial agreement, very good idea.
At a minimum, contact a lawyer.
Yeah.
To at least have a conversation.
Hey, folks, my name is Tom Olsen. The name of the show is Olsen on Law.